Hello, I am Wallas, the Polish toy guy. Today I'm going to show you how to transform Premier Edition Deluxe Bumblebee from Transformers 5 The Last Night. This video will cover both his transformation from car to robot mode and back, and will also show all of his gimmicks that I can find. Let's begin. Also, considering that this toy is a straight repaint of the Age of Extinction Deluxe Bumblebee, this manual will also work on that toy. So, before we transform Bumblebee into his robot mode, I want to show you that you can actually store his star-like weapons in the back of his undercarriage, and I'm going to show you how to attach these when we transform him back into vehicle mode. But for now we can detach them, as they lock the whole car mode together. And actually taking one of the first steps is one of the most difficult parts of this transformation, as we have to first separate and move out the doors and the front of the car out of the way. And these bits that will become shoulder guards are actually attached to this piece in a way where this actually taps into these pieces. So the first thing we want to do is to wiggle these out of the way so that we untap this. And actually it may be easier for you to do it when you first get your fingers at the chest piece and remove it to the bottom, so that we have some extra space for these hinges at Bumblebee's shoulders. So now with that done, we can unclip this like this. As you can see, a tab and a slot here, which can make this process slightly difficult the first few times, like this. Now that that's done, we can come to the back and separate the top of the car from the rear bumper and rear wheels. So we can actually jab our fingernails somewhere along this line, or we can just grab it at any other point that will separate these parts, like that. And now we can transform the roof. It's on a double hinge that will actually go first forward to cover the front windscreen, and then to further compress itself to this kind of a backpack. And that's all about this part for now. So now let's transform the legs, which we first separate if they haven't done that already on their own. And now we want to go to the bumpers and flip them around so that they start covering the wheels. And with that done, we have spare room to flip out the feet, which are behind the knees. First on this grey hinge, and when this part is closer to its destination, we can also use the other hinge to form a foot piece. And then we can also flip down, from this perspective, this part of the car exterior. So onto the other side, flip out the double hinge, flip down this, and now we can flip the part with the wheel behind the leg on both of them. And now we can use the thigh swivel to flip this around to such position, and the legs are now done. So let's go to the top. And as you can probably tell, there aren't many further steps that we have to take in this direction of the journey. The first one I will take is the one dealing with the shoulder guards, and this will actually make the rest of the transformation of the chest area simpler. So on this arm, I'm going to first bend the elbow a bit to unlock this little tab, and then I'm going to change the angle of this piece so that it ends in such a position, and then I'm going to allow the top of this piece to fall down to create such a shoulder piece. And on this arm, I'm going to change the direction. Well, I'm going to untab it, like that, but then I'm going to do this and then this. No matter what order you take for the shoulder pieces, the end result will be the same. And now another slightly tricky part, in that you have to open up the chest piece again, and using this double hinge above Bumblebee's head, you have to lower this inside this cavity. So we do it, it will give you some resistance, but we can do it and also change the angle of this at this hinge while you're at it. The trick is to load everything inside this cavity so that its edges go under the edge of the chest piece, as this will allow it to close in a more complete way. Otherwise you will end with a sort of bulging chest. So with that done, we push everything together. It will not lock in this mode, but it will sort of be stiff enough not to bother us. And last but not least, we can also flip down the side windows to give the back of the hand a slimmer profile, though at the same thickening out the arms when we look at Bumblebee from the front. Your choice really, it's mostly cosmetic. And speaking about cosmetic changes, we can also leave the robot mode like that, it'll be fine, but if you want to decorate it further, you can use this toy's gimmick of robot mode weapon storage, flip this out slightly, and this will create enough room for us to store the star weapons on Bumblebee's back, just like that. And that gives us an even completer robot mode. So overall it's a simple transformation, but I like it for the end result in robot mode. And now, before we change Bumblebee back into his vehicle mode, let's talk about the gimmicks. Of course, we've already seen the weapon storage on the back, but if you prefer, you can also remove it from here and put them in a more traditional place. For example, Bumblebee's hands. Just be wary that these smaller pegs are not sitting in the same line as the main peg, so they may obstruct your amount of sinking for the weapon unless you pay attention. But still, you can, shall we say, star Bumblebee up. But if you don't like this weapon, you can also use another one which is hidden in the right forearm. You just flip it out, replacing the hand, and now you have a hand blaster. And of course, saying that, we did notice 4 5mm weapon ports on the way to the robot mode. We can Rambo Bumblebee up if we have enough good weapons. Also, Bumblebee does have a small flip down battle mask, which is easy to miss, but it's a nice touch. And now it's time to transform Bumblebee from robot mode to his vehicle mode. We can start off by removing his weapons from his back. But otherwise, we can do this direction of the transformation, shall we say, by climbing up. So let's put the arms up so they are out of the way, and now let's start with the leg transformation. So first thing you want to do is to flip the whole leg around at this thigh swivel, and now you want to push this wheel assembly to the side using this hinge. This will make room for the feet to hide behind the shin, but first we want to flip out this small chunk of the car exterior, because this will hinder our further movements if we don't remember about doing this. And now we have this double hinge. One part is here in, shall we say, the ankle, and one is here. So we want to use them in tandem. So we straighten this out like this and then flip it around 180 degrees so that this piece ends at the top of the wheel. And it's important to keep this aligned with this piece, especially later on, which I will show you. So now we do it on the other side. Again, remember to keep this out of the way. It's very easy for this to jam between this foot part and the knee, so you be aware where that is all the time. Okay, that's done. Now we can flip the bumper piece at a diagonal angle, and now we can combine the legs using the license plate as a locking mechanism, and that gives us complete end of the car from the rear. Now let's take care of the roof, which we have to uncompress. So we use this hinge over here to push these two pieces back, and we can also use their own double hinge assembly to accordion them in a way that they become a single curve. And this will visibly lock into place with a sort of click, and now we have two teeth on the bumper that will go into two slots in the middle of the roof or the rear. We tap them together and we pay attention so that this piece is not jammed behind the tab of the roof. If it does, it's easy to just lift this up a bit and push this outward. Oh, it's happening on both sides this time. Easy to fix, but still pay attention to this. And now we can transform the top or front of the car. So first we have to open up the chest piece as much as we can, and using these two grey arms we have to remove the front bumper and the grille from behind the chest piece. It may be easier to push it from below like that, so that it goes around the head, and now it will lock with a visible motion right here. Well, you will definitely feel when it's in the right place. So now we can transform the arms, so flip up the side windows, flip up the sides of the front, and then spin them back so that they form a single line with the door, and there's a tiny small tab over here that will lock with the door. And we do the same on the other side, though this is so loose that chances are you can achieve this part of the transformation by just flicking your wrist. There we go. So now we rotate this back and align it and tap this tab into the door. And now, the final piece, we have to push these bits under the front bumper so that this slot over here will lock into this tab. So we do it like this. It's much easier to do this way around than when we want to transform Bumblebee into robot mode. Okay, first click, great. And now, second click. There we go. And we can seal everything off by pushing the door and the roof together using tabs that are inside the door. So this is the basic vehicle mode, and if you want to make sure it's extra secure, you can use the weapon storage gimmick. By going here to the feet, you can see two sets of small holes. So they correspond to these two small pegs at the sides of the handle for robot mode. So we just have to aim in a proper way. We push the bigger peg like this, and we just have to spin it until the smaller holes and pegs align. Done. And now, after finding the second weapon, here we are. We do the same just below. So push it in with the bigger one, spin it so that the holes and pegs align, and that secures the vehicle mode even further. And I think we are done. And that's all for this transformation guide. I hope it was useful to you and you liked it. More guides like this are coming soon, and in the meantime, feel free to suggest a new one in the comments. I might just have the toy you want to see transformed. I will catch you again in the next video, and until then, stay well. Polish Toy Guy signing out.